Hi, I'm your host Kelly Bowen, and you are listening to the Lifestyle Finance Australia show, which is dedicated to creating greater awareness about the power of leveraging finance when it comes to accelerating your growth and personal development. And we celebrate the hundreds of coaches, thought leaders, and game changers we support. This is a platform where you can meet some of the world's best experts in online business, trauma healing, digital marketing, relationship coaching, abundance and wealth creation, spiritual ascension, body healing, and wellness. So if you're looking for your next coach, healer, or mentor to take you on the next step in your journey, this is the show for you. Let's play. Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome back to another episode of the Lifestyle Finance Show. Today, I have an amazing guest with us, Jim Cox. He is an incredible business coach for startups. So for any of you that are thinking about starting up a business, getting into the coaching space, into the online service space, this is the episode for you. Welcome to the show, Jim.
Well, thanks for having me, Kelly. It's great to be here.
My pleasure.
Yeah.
So I always like to start the first question of this is because I know what you do. I know how awesome you are. We've been working together for a while. I've seen many of your incredible clients come through and thrive.
Yep.
Let's just pretend I don't know who you are and I don't know what you do. For our listeners, if you could sum it up in a few sentences, what is it that you do and who is it that you love working with the most?
Yeah, sweet. So look, we support people to create a scalable business. So I think a lot of people start out in the business space and they don't know the steps, let alone, where they're going to go and what they want to do. So we have quite a few programs, but the main one is 6 months where we hold people's hands, whether they're in startup, soon to be in startup, that sort of inconsistent income in their business, and wanting to take that to the next level online with, scalable programs.
Yeah, amazing. Gosh, there's two big words that you said in there. One, inconsistent income.
Yes.
And two, like scalable online, like going from offline to online. These are huge things. And I'd love to sort of explore these parts in this conversation because I know there's a lot of people out there to help startups, and you are by far one of the best that I've come across with a really awesome like success track record. And I'd love to share that because I also know we have a lot of people come through like us because they're wanting to create their dream life. They're wanting
Yep.
to start a business that they're deeply passionate about, but there's a big scale, big scope from going from employee to self-employed and everything else in between.
Yes.
So, and inconsistent income and online, they're the two biggest things. So
Yeah.
before we kind of jump into them, can we talk a little bit like what would I want to be considering that if I was thinking about going out into business on my own, what are some of the things I'd want to take into consideration?
The first thing I would say is find something that you absolutely love. I think people jump into business and all they're focused on is the customer and what can I sell, how can I make money and what can I sell so that I can make my customers happy and get out of get out of the job that they're in. They're moving away from what they don't want. I think where a lot of people get stuck in business is they start businesses that they're not 500% passionate about that are going to give them the lifestyle that they want. So I think that the first step is to align your values, work out a business that you're going to absolutely love waking up for every day and that you're going to create the impact that you want to create every single day. And then start to, follow the steps. To add on to that from a more tactical perspective, strategy
Yeah.
perspective, you don't need a website. You don't need business cards. You don't need to, do all the stuff that people think you need to do when you're getting started. You just need to have some really awesome conversations and start to sell what you want to provide.
Yeah.
And I think that just simplifies it so much because, people think, we work with a lot of coaches as an example, as you do as well.
Mm-hmm.
And, one of the big things that people say is, I want to start working with more clients, but I need to create my coaching program. And
Yeah.
it's actually the opposite. Come up with the idea. Don't get me wrong. Like we always help people create a bit of a structure around what they want to sell and a bit of an outline, but you don't need to build it until people are paying you for it. And a very wise mentor once told me you've only got to stay 1 week ahead of your first paying client.
Yeah, I remember getting that piece of advice too. I
Yeah.
love it. And I love that you put that out there that you don't need a website, you don't need all the fancy online stuff because this is a trap that people
Yeah.
new to the online space fall into. I remember when I was like fresh out of the coaching institute. Like we're going back 10 years and I was like, right, I'd spent like 3.5 grand on a website. I'd spent another couple of grand getting somebody to create the sales letters and the bits and pieces for that for a
Yeah.
program that I wasn't like totally solid in about weight loss and and then getting the whole thing built and being like, I don't want to do that anymore.
Yeah.
And seeing how much that I was still paying that off, which really crippled me, and then being able to have my funds available for the part that I really needed to.
Yeah.
So, what would you say for somebody wanting to go into the online business space? What are the bare minimums they need to be able to get going?
To be completely honest, a phone and your laptop. I think with social media right now, and you don't even need to connect with people on social media, but as long as you can communicate with people, and as long as you've got the ability and the time to do a bit of research, find your market, and be able to connect with them, whether it's through joint ventures or partnerships or approaching people directly, that's really all you need. I mean, I started my business with an Excel spreadsheet, and all of my coaching courses were in a Google Drive folder. And so when I had a new
I
person come
love
on
it.
board, I just give them access to the Google Drive folder, totally free, didn't cost me a cent.
It's
Um,
great.
I use Zoom to record all of my sessions. Social media, you just use your phone. So, yeah, there's not really much you need to get moving in any field. Like, well, obviously, if you're looking at being a personal trainer as an example, there might be some equipment there, but I think that technology is so advanced that as long as you've got a phone and a laptop, you're ready to go.
Yeah, I love it. And
Mm.
also, too, these days, your social media really is your webpage.
Totally.
It's
Totally. Look, I've worked with some of the biggest names in the business. So many people listening would know Taki Moore.
mhm.
So I recently left his boardroom program. And he does everything online. Like I've looked at his website and he hasn't touched it for like 10 years. Because he gets everything from referrals, and you look at, the Alex Hormozis, Tony Robbins, like all the people that I've looked up to, social is their platform. They don't need anything else.
Yeah, I agree. I still remember like back in the early days with lifestyle finance, it wasn't when it was like purely specializing in doing what we're doing now, finance for coaches.
Mm,
It was at least 3 years before I even bothered looking at a website. And it was purely because one of the referral partners that I was working with, they were helping accountants like structure and scale their business, and being that they're in the accounting space, like proof, social proof, like where is your digital footprint, like
yeah.
where they deal with the ATO. They're pretty strict of like wanting to see things. So I put together like this mock-up one-page something that I pay somebody $200 to put together for me, so I could say, look, here's my digital real estate, because I wasn't even like big on my socials at that point. It was all referral based as
Yeah,
well.
it's
And
kind of funny that you bring that up because I went through a similar thing where we built a website, but the main reason why we did it was because all of the people that we were working with wanted a website, and we actually came up with an idea to provide the platform for our clients to build their website, their landing pages, online store, like in a system. So we actually provide our clients with that now, not so that they can get clients, but so that they can overcome the block of I need a website to look successful. We give them that so that they can just stop thinking about it. We give it to them for free. There's a template there. You've got your own website. Now let's focus on the stuff that you actually need to focus on.
yeah,
And it helps. Like, I mean, especially, for service-based professionals like us, having an appointment system obviously is needed. But that doesn't need to be housed on a website, but it's there to get you moving.
yeah, and you can do that through a software program. I know for us, we only bought that in October 2021. No, 2022 was when
Yep.
we started having scheduled appointments. Otherwise, it was you send us an email, we call your client. There was none
Yeah.
of this booking in. Like, there's so many different things you can do that you just don't need the fancy stuff. But I think where people get a little bit stuck with startup is they look at people 10 years into business where they've
Correct.
gone, oh, I've got the time and the money to build that thing now, as opposed to like what it really takes to like to get going. So when you said like focus on the things that need to be focused on,
Yep.
what would you say the key things are that somebody starting their own business really needs to focus on to be successful?
Look, I think it's having an open mind to the way the business can shift. I think that's a really big thing to believe first, is to have the flexibility to go, hey, look, this is the direction that I want to go down, but if that changes, it's totally okay. And then I think it's just about taking the steps. And one of the biggest things that I would say is to utilize a mentor or utilize people that have gone before you. We're never recreating the wheel here. There's other coaches out there, and I think probably one of the best things that worked for me was, right, who are the business coaches and high performance coaches that I see that I really like, and what are they doing what did they do to get to where they are? Yeah. And I think a huge part of it just comes down to authority and brand. I think that's really huge, which I think is why maybe some people get so stuck on all the other flashy stuff because they want to look professional. But if you can build the right message and the right market and have that right brand story and the why behind you do what you do, you'll find clients easy.
Yeah, I agree. Can you talk us through a little bit like your story, like how you came into where you are, how you went from like the startup phase
Yep.
and like some of the key pieces through that and learnings to where you are now?
Yeah, for sure. I've actually, funnily enough, written a book about it. I don't know if people
Epic.
can, I don't know if the podcasters can see that, but Build, Excite, Ignite, we hit Amazon bestsellers list a little while back, which is what all the
C-
PR's been for recently. But no,
Congratulations. We'll definitely have links to that somewhere
yes,
around.
for sure. But no, look, my background was actually performing arts. So I was a music theater performer. I worked with Disney, traveled the world for years. The body started to break down, and then I moved into the corporate world, and that's where I really found my love for business. Throughout my corporate life, Cal, I tried selling supplements. I tried selling, I created an online store for local artists and furniture makers. Totally bombed. One of those things where you build the website, spend tons of money, and then you realize it's not a good idea. Um, I've done, there was at
Oh, yeah.
least, I was 3/4 of the way through a personal training certificate. Like I've done so much stuff. And I think all of that lent to the business that I have now. It was funny, like you mentioned studying at TCI. I did my study at the life coaching college.
Yeah.
And I reckon when I started that program, I changed my niche, like my business, like 20 times. And it was funny that my niche actually found me, to be totally honest. So I built quite a successful mindset coaching business. My background was fitness, like managing gyms. So I stepped into a space where I was sort of sales coaching and helping gyms with their operations and all that sort of stuff. And because I built that business up quite quickly, a lot of students that I'd studied with came to me and said, hey, Jim, you're crushing it in your coaching business. Can you help me? So that was kind of, literally thrown in my face of, hey, look, maybe I'm focusing on the wrong area here. I never wanted to be a coach that coached coaches because I freaking hated those people. But I think that was the cool thing, is that it kind of made me go, hey, hang on, I've done and seen so many programs that overpromise and underdeliver. How can I do this properly and guarantee people a result? And obviously, there's a lot of work that has to go into it, and it's not easy. But we now guarantee that if people don't hit a certain amount in their business, we'll work with them for free until they do, as long as they're putting the work in.
That's incredible.
And we've got I want to say, probably about an 80% success rate.
Yeah.
So yeah, so we're
Oh,
doing pretty
goosebumps.
well. But this is the thing, right? Is when you really love what you do, it doesn't feel like work. Like if we've got a client that follows our 6-month program and they have not made at least 12 grand in the program, then we want to keep working with them because we know what we have works. It's just a matter of finding the right niche or the right market or having the right conversation with the right person. And it might just be a couple of months off compared to other people. So I think that's probably one of the other things, like looping it all back, is is run your own race. Like for some people, yes, it happens within a few weeks and it's because they got great contacts. Other people we've worked with for 12 months and then, they finally have that one conversation and that's what sets off their whole business. So it's just, consistency and persistence pays off.
Yeah, gosh, I really want to acknowledge you on that success rate because I've also, like you, been around the coaching space for a long time. I've done many things, I've been involved in many things, and not many people can say they have a genuine 80% success rate on people hitting the benchmark of what it is the program promises within the time frame of the program.
Yeah.
Particularly at startup phase. Like I'm purely
Yeah.
talking about startup phase. Once you get beyond that, it's a little bit different. The goals become a bit different, but particularly in that early promise stage where you're completely fundamentally changing the way that you work, the way that you receive money, like everything. To have that, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Most are lucky to get around the 10 to 20% mark
Correct.
to actually
And
come out with a business.
yeah, which is what made me shift, right? Because I don't know, about the stats around all of the coaching schools, but I know that the average is 10%. So 10% of students that actually go through a program will come out and create a business from it, whether it's, from as in directly from coaching. Like a lot of people will go off and do other things with it, but directly from starting a coaching business. So I wanted to change that because of what coaching did for me. So yeah.
Yeah, magical.
Yeah.
Let's go into a little bit about the inconsistency with cash flow because I know anybody who's in a full-time job and like the dream is I want to do this because you see the potential to serve, you see the potential to make a difference, to do something that's deeply fulfilling, but that like the letting go of the security of the full-time income is like you can hear
I love
me
the change in the voice with that. Yeah.
Deliberate.
Very good example of how everybody feels with that moment.
That's what it feels like, right? So
Yeah.
in creating that consistent income, like how would one do that? Like what are some of the key pieces here so that they can confidently take that step? Or how would you recommend they shift from the job into full-time with their business?
Look, 80% of it is mindset. And I think it's the biggest thing that we need to work with people on. Sure, we've got the steps and the strategies and the templates and stuff, but if you're not willing to accept failure and accept the no's and accept that sometimes you've gone down the wrong path and you've got to change and pivot, it all happens up in your head. So I think that's the biggest thing is work on yourself. You don't need to be perfect by any means, but you need to make sure that you're willing to make this happen no matter what. Like I went from kind of lucky in a way, was the lowest part of my life, but probably the most impactful. I went from being in a job that was, incredibly, incredibly stressful, had a boss with two heads, was told that I couldn't take more than a week off because they needed my job role too much, fell into really unresourceful habits. So partying, drug use, a whole bunch of stuff. And I just got to a stage where I wasn't going to be on this planet anymore, very close to committing suicide. And just incredibly lucky that I connected with a mate out of the blue and he was like, dude, you should go see a coach. And I met this guy and I was like, hey, you're living in Bali, you're working 3 days a week, you've got 4 clients a day, you're pretty comfortable. I want to do what you're doing. Aside from the impact, like all of the other stuff that he was doing as well. But I think it was, it put me in that rock and a hard place where I knew coaching was the only option. I didn't want to go back to corporate. I didn't want to go back to all of the experience that I had because of what where I found myself. So coaching was literally the only option. And having that mindset meant that no matter what was thrown at me, I dealt with it. It wasn't stressing about it. It wasn't throwing in the towel. It was like, no, I'm going to make this work. It's just a matter of figuring out how. And that's what's driven me to get here. So fun times.
Yeah, wow. Thank you for sharing that.
All good.
Isn't it like the irony, right? Of like it's in those moments where we feel the most despair are often our most powerful, pivotal moments of change.
Yeah, totally. And I think it just comes down to how you allow yourself to take action from it.
Yeah.
Mm,
Talk to me about building resilience because I, like you, absolutely believe and attribute the only reason I am where I am is because of this level of like persistence and resilience and
mm.
tenacity that it's just it, even though like you fail, you like fail forward. So
Yeah.
you learn and you pick yourself up and you move on and you keep going.
Yeah.
How did you cultivate those qualities within yourself? Because
Ah,
they are key for success.
look, you have, I could throw out all of the buzzwords and phrases in sales, like, every no is getting you to your next yes and all of that BS. But I think it comes back to what I mentioned first off when we started talking was that the thing that you're building needs to be so aligned with your values and who you want to be as a person and the impact that you want to make in the world that nothing is going to hold you back from making that happen. And, I think that that's always supported me. So is just remembering those moments, when I have, um, a bad day, something goes wrong in the business. I remember why I'm doing this. I remember all the people that we've helped. When I have someone that the other 20% of people that don't do the work and don't get the result and whinge and complain and blame us and want their money back. Sure, it hurts because I want to help them, but you've got to have that level of resilience isn't quite the right word, but just authority and trust within yourself that you can do the right thing for people. I think that's a big thing. If I obviously I above the line take responsibility in every way that I possibly can, but if someone's not doing the work, they're not doing the work, and you can't help them. So I had to learn quite early on in my coaching career that I couldn't save everybody.
Oh, I
um,
because like yes, I empathize.
Yes, as much as you want to, want to help everybody. And before I met you, I was putting people on these totally insane payment plans where they'd be paying me, $10 a week for the rest of their life. With obviously the hope that they would, you know, do the work and get the result. But it's been so interesting to see that the people that we've gone above and beyond for with payment plans and helping them out are the ones that don't commit and don't make it happen. It's been so interesting to watch. Whereas when they pay up front or when they go on a bigger, like serious
Mm-hmm.
repayment plan, I'm talking like, 1,500, $2,000 a month.
Yep.
They work so much harder, they get the result and they freaking love us for it. So yeah, it's been a huge game changer for us.
Yeah, I get that. I've seen it too. Like the
Mm,
any time when I was in the coaching space and I would just want to help them and you could see the potential. There's also like a little bit of there was a different frequency too between the
yeah,
ones that were I will do anything to make this work and go and find the funds versus the ones where you bend and compromise your standards to make it work. And it's something that you do at the early stages of the business because you want to help everyone.
correct.
And a lot of the time that like you get into coaching because you want to help yourself as much as help others. And as soon as somebody resembles a little bit, like you see some same kind of similar qualities in
Correct.
them
Yep.
that you recognize within you and you just want to help them. But I really love that you shared that.
Yeah.
You've mentioned authority a couple of times.
Yes.
If you were to start all over again,
Mm,
no authority in the current marketplace, and you had to start again and build your authority, how would you do that?
great question. Uh, I'd start sharing my story quicker. I think I spent a lot of time when I first started. The authority for me was trying to be the perfect person that everybody wanted me to be. And I think as soon as you show vulnerability and authenticity and you start to connect with people in different ways, not just about coaching or whatever you're doing, that's when you really start to create awesome connection. So, I spend time now, showing my renos, like we're renovating this really awesome 1800s place in Wood End in Macedon, in Victoria, for those that aren't in Victoria.
Mm.
Uh, I've got two adorable French bulldogs who are asleep behind me at the moment. And I swear I have more people sign up because of my French bulldogs than I do for what we actually sell. But just showing, exactly what we've been talking about during the podcast is, showing authenticity that you struggle to, that, life isn't always perfect. I think that's the stuff that creates connection, and the authority piece comes in not because you've got photos of yourself next to a Lamborghini or you're medical celebrity or whatever it is, but because you go, hey, look, I've walked this walk and I know the steps and I want to help you get there faster. And I think that creates an amazing level of authority. And it's the same as well. I think another big component of authority is testimonials, case studies. Like, you're never going to meet a business owner that says they have a terrible business, but you're going to meet other people, clients that say they have a terrible business. So if you've got other people telling everybody how awesome your business is and the service that you provide, you're going to get clients.
Yeah, 100%. And it is like if your how you help your clients is speaks volumes well beyond any marketing piece you could write.
Right.
And I also love here that you're talking about authority, like when it in marketing terms, and being that you've been in Taki space, and I know this comes from Taki space, like you're talking about the hometown character, the hometown boy, girl done good, where this is my life, where things sucked, and here's my transformation, and here's me doing good, and I'm not special, you can do it too, and here's my formula.
Yeah.
And I think what people forget is that your client, you don't need to be trying to serve the client that's where the business, like where your business would be in 10 years time. You just need somebody who's 6 months prior to where you were wanting to have that transformation. Like going back to what you said earlier, you only need to be 1 week ahead of your client.
Correct.
So this is where like this character is so powerful. And as soon as you start sharing parts of your life and you're going through this and you actually living and breathing what it is that you're offering, it just creates that instant magnetism about you where people can identify themselves within you and be like, oh, that's it. And this is the magic. Like when starting a business, if you can nail this part, you will get the business off the ground.
Correct. And it's relatability as well. Like, when we first met, we had a bit of a conversation and we clicked and I was like, hey, it'd be kind of cool to hang out with Kelly more. So this is something that I could see working as a partnership. And I think, it's what I was always taught in corporate by one of my, amazing mentors, was that people will hire you because they want to hang out with you and they know that you can make them look better, not just because you have what they need to sell, right? Because they could work with anybody, right? Like there are so many business coaches in the world. There are so many finance companies in the world, but we provide something authentic and something that is, that connects with our audience and the impact that we want to make in the world. So that is what brings the clients in.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And it has it's where you get the referral base happening.
Yeah.
All right, random question for you.
Yes.
What's something that you like to do for fun? Can't be related to business or coaching.
No, it's not. So directly behind me, this was my dream ever since I was like, right, as soon as I start making some serious money in this business, I've got a gaming room. So PlayStation, Xbox, Switch, Atari, literally every gaming console that you can think of is set up behind this wall.
That's so cool.
So I'm currently playing Star Wars on PlayStation. But yes,
amazing.
that is what I do. I like to hit things with a lightsaber and shoot stuff when I'm feeling like I need to de-stress.
Oh, that's so fun.
Yeah.
Like one of the things that I've noticed, and I don't know whether your journey has been something similar, is that like you start out with the like, I want to be successful, and success becomes like these things that you sort of want to obtain that are outside of you, like certain benchmarks that you want to hit. That means once I hit here that I'm successful. And then what I've realized is that actually doesn't make me feel good. Fulfillment is doing things like what you said. For you, it's buying all the video games. For me, it's like being out on my jet ski or traveling, experiencing new things, or just little things that that would mean nothing to other people, but they're so like simplistic in terms of like my own happiness and fulfillment. Like, do you have something like this? Are there other things that you have that are like your little like, because I'm doing this completely non-related thing to business or impact that actually is like you experiencing fulfillment?
Yeah, totally. Which I think is to be honest, it's why I love helping the people that I help, right? Because, it's not just about playing video games for me. Like I'm a Renault nut. Like, if the block is on, where I'm going to be on the couch. But, so to be able to buy an 1800s cottage in Woodend and, be able to renovate it in my spare time is
So cool.
fantastic. I've planted a veggie garden out the front. So, I knock off work at sort of 2:30, 3 o'clock and then go and pick tomatoes and check on my zucchinis in the afternoon. You know what I mean? Like there's all of these things that, um, that bring you to building your business, but it's those grounding things that I think I really enjoy. And the same thing, right? Like it's kind of the tattoo, like adventure is tattooed on my arm. It's not just the gaming side of things, but I love to travel. And
Mm.
I think that was a large part of a coaching business for me, was that I could do it anywhere. So
Mm.
I took a month trip to Croatia last year, and I didn't coach much. I took time off, but I could support my team and grow my business while I was on a yacht in Croatia. Like, having that sort of
So
laptop
epic.
lifestyle. Yeah. But and it's nothing to, it wasn't anything to gloat about being able to do that. It was more just the fact that freedom and flexibility were one of my highest values. And I wanted to experience cultures, and I wanted to visit new countries, and I wanted to be able to do that whenever I felt like it. So yeah.
Yeah. Isn't it a magic experience? Like I literally just had the same thing traveling through Nepal, and even last year when I spent 5 weeks in Europe, I'd never been able to do that before. I'd never
Yes.
been able to, well, one, take time off and still get paid for it, because if I don't work, it used to be if I didn't work, I didn't get paid.
Yeah.
But then having a team, having a team helps a lot with that.
Yeah.
Yet also, but this time when I went away to Nepal, I didn't cut time out. Like I was actually going to be completely unavailable for my, not completely unavailable, but limited to my team like I was when I went to Europe. This time I was like, I'm happy to still work in the mornings and go about my hiking, but it was great. I'd get up at like 4, 5 a.m. I would work to about 10. And that
Yeah.
was my day done because of the time zone change. And then I'd go hiking mountains for the rest of the day. It was incredible.
This is why you go, you go holidaying where people are asleep when you're awake. So you
It's so
don't have
good.
to worry about it. No, but I think that's the thing too, is like I remember, one of the first huge overseas trips that I went on for an extended period of time. I was in Greece and Portugal for probably about a month. And the only
Mm.
reason why that was possible was A, because I wasn't working and I just got a nice little inheritance from my grandparents. So I had the money and I had the time. Whereas normally, if you're in a corporate job, you're lucky to get 2 weeks off at a time, if that,
Yeah.
right? So, um, yeah, I've just done 3.5 weeks in Croatia. I'm flying to Bali to run a business retreat, and then pissing off to Amsterdam and Tuscany for a couple of weeks. So it's just having that freedom-based lifestyle is just epic. Yeah, lots
Yeah,
of fun.
it's so special, and I love like, and even like love that you're in the business of helping people achieve that. It's so
Correct.
cool.
Yeah, which is why, we always say that we want to help people create a scalable business, because, exactly like you've mentioned, when you first become a coach and people, I really go against the grain that one-on-one is the most effective way to coach people. Like everyone comes in going, look, one-on-one's the best way to do it. For me, I really believe in the power of group coaching and community and scalability for people. So that's why we really, really like to focus on helping people create one-to-many coaching programs, because then the community helps each other, and there's so much less pressure on you as the head coach or whatever you want to call yourself.
Yeah.
And you can disappear for a couple of weeks, and you know that they're going to look after themselves, or the team that you've got are going to support them. And you can actually switch off and recharge, which I think is so crucial when we give so much to our clients.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And even like this, like going back to what you were saying at the begin episode, you want to find something that you're deeply passionate about.
Mm,
And even like adding on what you've just put there is like, yes, something that you're deeply passionate about, but also what lifestyle do you want to have live? What lifestyle do you want to live? And then how do the two fit together?
correct. Exactly. And that was the
Yeah.
thing, is I never got into business to make millions of dollars. Very lucky that I can say I've got a 7-figure coaching business, but for me, it's not about that. It's about the impact. 10% of our profits go to supporting VAs in the Philippines to put
Mm.
food on their table for their families, because, we know that most of the time VAs get paid terrible hourly rates. So we're, disrupting that. Like I've helped rebuild a school in Brazil, when floods came through and destroyed the school. So, it's all of that giving back stuff that I really love. Like, I don't want to have millions of dollars in the bank because sure, it'd be nice, but I mean, what do you do with it?
Yeah, millions of dollars doing things is way cooler than millions of dollars in the bank. Like I get
Correct.
it. Like that is not like yes to the millions of dollars in the bank, and also to having
Correct.
that millions of dollars do cool things as well.
Correct. So yeah, so I don't need $200 million in my bank account. I want to be comfortable. I want to have fun, but I want to give back and support as well. So
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
You've mentioned a couple of times here about values alignment being really important when choosing a business or
Mm.
looking at going into that space. Can you talk to us a little bit about like how you come into alignment with your values? So if this is new, if people are like values, what are my values? Like firstly, what are they? And how do we discover them and come into alignment with them?
Get a coach. No, I think
Yes,
that
yes, and
no, look, I think we all realize it's funny because when I say, that a coach helped me sort of find my values and help me figure out what I wanted to do, I actually had it already. So I've got adventure tattooed on my arm. I've got transform, challenge, be open to change and explore as like Greek hieroglyphics down the side of my chest.
that's cool.
And my values are freedom, adventure, connection, and growth, which are pretty much exactly the same. But I think for those of you that are listening that haven't done this work before, just get a values list. Like there's heaps of them on Google, and you'll find that you might be able to circle like 10 or 20 words and then see if you can narrow those down to 5. And once you've got that list, I actually took a photo of it and put it on my phone so that I could see it every day. And then whenever I
Mm.
had a really, like a really happy moment or a really excited moment where I felt flow or I felt really connected, I took a look at that list and I was like, am I living my values right now? Is that why I'm lit up? Because I'm connecting to these things. And it was funny because a couple of them did change. So there was stuff that was on that I'd written in my values from an analytical perspective that didn't actually connect with what was really lighting me up. So I refined them over time. But I think that, values are something that definitely stick with you. So the more you're conscious of them, the clearer the list will be. And then you've just got to find something that fits around them to freaking love your life every day.
Mm.
Mm.
Beautiful. This because I was curious how you were going to answer that because I've had many people share different ways about values and all sorts of different things. So that was really beautiful. I love the simplicity of it. It
Yep.
is easy to go on Google and find something and then like narrowing it down and actually like looking, like checking in. Is my real life experiencing matching what
Correct.
I'm
And I
trying
mean,
to
even
tell myself?
thinking, yeah, and even thinking back, like, I mean, a lot of coaching techniques and tools, which you would know, like tell you to think about, an event in your life that really lit you up or, things that you've done in the past that make you feel really good about yourself. And that's a great place to start. But being able to connect them, I think being able to connect them to real life moments right now that you're feeling really helps you connect with how strong that value is, as opposed to just looking at past events.
Mm.
Mm.
And I also think too that that part that you put in about there's things that you'll put on there that you want yourself to value versus what you actually do.
Yeah.
And for you, when you said a couple of them changed, do you mind sharing what they were and
Yeah.
what that process was?
Yeah, for sure. One of them was family.
Hmm.
And again, right, it was something that I felt like I needed to have on there. And don't get me wrong, like I love my family. I will do anything for them. But for me, it's more about connection. So it doesn't matter if it's my family, if it's friends, if it's clients. I love connecting with people, and that was a stronger value. One of the other ones, which was kind of cool, that I discovered, I did put money on there because I wanted money to support the values. And the way that I learned values is they're kind of like a house. So you've got to have ones at the bottom that align with the ones at the top so that you can have the top ones with the bottom ones. So I was like,
Yes.
right, I need money to travel. I need money to hire a team. I need money to connect and grow a business and learn and grow. Like I need money. So it's got to be on there. What I discovered was that money wasn't really a driver for me. It was a resource that helped me fulfill my values. So I actually removed money and kind of have it on that little side thing to be like, hey, look, money's cool. Don't get me wrong. It's going to help me do what I want to do. But, exactly like we said before, having millions of dollars in a bank account doesn't light me up. It feels good. It's secure. It's great, but it's not the end goal.
I love that you shared that. I was hoping you would go there with it. And
Nice.
look, here's why, because I was same as you. Like particularly in the early stages of business, and this is one thing that I would keep trying to force myself to value was money.
Mm.
And that would be like, doing like value stuff around uploading a treasurer within me. But that is just not how I operate. I am
No.
not calculated with money. I am not like, you can say, hey, hit this goal, I'll give you $10,000. And I'm like, sure, thanks. But that doesn't,
Yeah.
it's not going to make me get out of bed to do the thing because of the $10,000.
Correct.
And then what I realized, like this piece that you're talking about with the values, once I realized what motivated me, then I started taking those values and putting them through the thing. And that then drive me to do the thing that would then get the $10,000.
Totally.
But if it was purely like, here's $10,000, it's like, oh, but there's this other thing over here where I can go on an adventure. I'm gone. Or this other thing that I feel like I'm more self-expressed through. Or this other thing that's going to give me like a deeper. So one of my things is like how you say is connection. One of mine is like deeply connected relationships.
Yeah.
And if I don't have that in something, I'm not getting like I won't show up.
Yeah, correct. It's why I used to run. Sorry, you go.
No, go ahead.
We broke up for a second. I used to run sales teams, and it was one thing that we did with sales teams to help them get better results. Is it was like, great, just like you said, you're going to earn this amount of commission. Here's the dollar signs, but I want you to think about what you're going to buy with that money, and stick that on your wall, on like near your desk, so that every time you come into the office, you're going to see that picture. And no one ever put up a photo of their bank account with tens of thousands of dollars in it. It was, a holiday or doing something for their family, or, even if it was buying a Gucci bag, like whatever it was, like that's what motivated them. It wasn't the dollar signs.
Yeah, absolutely. Even when I do my business goals, I never do business goals based upon end numbers. I know what the end numbers are, but I look at how many new referral partners do I want to bring into the lifestyle finance ecosystem? How many deals do we want to settle this year? Because that means there's been that many people that are now investing in their growth and education and living their dreams passionately. That lights me up.
Yeah.
To tell me that like we're going, I don't even know what the that's funny. I'm literally looking at my goal board here, and the dollar figure's not even there. It's just the people. I was like, I didn't say like that equates to this much,
Correct.
but no, I don't even know what it is. My number is the people. My number is the impact, and I think this is so important when you're going into business to really come back and go, okay, what is the thing that motivates me that needs to be my focus? Because if you're not motivated by money, some people are. Like I know some people that you show them a dollar sign and you watch them go. I was like, oh, I wish I was that simple. Like I've got to do this whole big thing to make me motivated.
Yeah, I think there's two sides of the coin. I think, you're right. Like there's some people that are really hyper motivated by money and having that money in their bank account. And if that lights them up, awesome. Like honestly, nothing, I wish I was that simple as well, because it'd be a lot easier. But I think on the other side of the spectrum, and what I see a lot with startups in general, not just coaches, is they're scared of money. And that's something that I think people need to embrace, especially when you're starting a business. Like if you don't make money, you're a charity, you're not a company. And so I think that's, probably one of the biggest blocks that we sometimes need to work through with people, is that you are, your experience, your knowledge, whatever you're selling is worth something. Stop giving it away for free. Start to charge what you're worth. And take it from there. I think it's one of the dangers of startups is people are scared to 10x their pricing because they think they're not ready for it, but it's just a number.
Yeah. In your opinion, why do you think people are afraid of money?
I think, look, the comments that I get from people are, I'm like coaching, especially, right? Like I'm helping people with all of this fantastic stuff that's fulfilling for me. I don't need money for it because they can't afford it. And it's like, well, no, but if you look at it, when you invest more in something, it means more to you. So who are you to tell someone that their life or that their journey with you is worth nothing. You know what I mean? Like that flips it. A little bit of NLP there, right? But
Felt it.
that's the kind of stuff that we've got to flip, is that, you know, we invest in, like, you know, think, those that are listening, think about the most expensive thing that you've ever bought and how much that thing meant to you, whether it was a house, whether it was, you know, your new car, whether it was saving your child from, you know, hospital bills or whatever it was. Like, we invest money in what we really value, and making someone pay big prices means that they're more invested in it and they're more willing to grow. Like, I think that's the hugest part.
Yeah. Yeah, powerful. I love that you shared that, because it is definitely like a block for new people in business.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
just asking for what they're worth. And of course it's a journey. Like, you don't start with like a super high ticket. You kind of move your way through it. But
Totally.
it gets to this point, like, you've got to remember, I always like the concept of, for you to be able to get to this point, to be able to serve your client, how many years did it take you to gain that knowledge, to gain that experience, to gain that wisdom?
Yeah.
And they usually say something like 10 years, 20 years. Okay, cool. And how much did it cost you in that 10, 20 years to be able to get to this point? That's
Yeah.
usually when they start looking at me like, "Are you seriously want me to add that up?" And then it's like, well, don't you think it's reasonable that if you can take somebody through that transformation in 12 weeks, that you're only charging this much? When it's
Correct.
cost you this much in 20 years? Like, come on.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is the other one we get all the time, which is, I'm not good enough yet. Like, you know, I'm not good enough. I'm not experienced enough. I haven't done enough study. And that's the thing, is when they actually look back and go, hang on, all of the stuff that I've done and all that added up into a sum is actually quite a lot of money. So I should be charging more. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. People will happily pay for experience and results.
Correct.
I
Yeah.
would much rather work with somebody that has recently solved the problem that I'm stuck with
Yeah.
and nailing it, than somebody who's way further down the track and hasn't had that problem for 10 years.
Yeah. And not just that, but like people that will help me get there faster. Like, it's all about the transformation that you want. And you look at, you know, it's interesting because a lot of people that we work with, they want to build out these, like, you know, 6-12 month programs because they think people will pay more money for it. And it's like, well, hang on. Like, if you look at 2-minute abs, right? Like, if I told you, work with me and I'll help you get a 6-pack in 2 minutes, or work with me and I'll help you get a 6-pack an hour a week for 6 months, like, which one do you want to pay more? Right. So, you know, it's a big thing that we always play in with marketing is, you know, it needs to be simple. It needs to be faster. It needs to be easier. That's what people are going to spend money in. You know, not tons of information and heaps of programs and all of this, you know, value stuff, you know, 500 hours of online course content, whatever it is. People don't care about that. They just want the result and they want it quick.
Particularly in today's age.
Correct.
So when you've got 90 seconds on a reel to land your point,
Yeah.
like,
Correct. But I mean, but even with you, Kelly, right? Like, I mean, one of the awesome things about working with your team is stuff gets done so quickly. Yeah. Whereas, you know, we've worked with other providers and stuff in the past where you've got to wait, like, you know, 1 month or more to actually help, you know, finally get the approval process through or whatever it is. So, you know, it's that speed that's so crucial.
yeah, it's not uncommon for people to say that to us as well, that they've
Yeah.
worked with other finance providers and it's taken them months or weeks. I'm like, what are these people doing? It's really not that shallow. Like, it shocks me every time, and it's a horror story. But let's go there. Can you talk? Can you share with us a little bit like what your experience has been in terms of implementing finance into your business and the difference that it's made to your clients?
Immense. Look, I mean, working with startup, you know, exactly like we've discussed, there's always that weird sort of moment of, hey, I know I need to invest in a coach to get to where I want to be quicker, but I need to make the money to make that happen. But if I have a coach, I'm going to make the money quicker, and they just end up going around in this loop. So being able to get finance into the business has helped immensely. It really helps us in terms of cash flow. I don't have 250 people on $50 a week payment plans anymore, which just hit our bottom line and the stuff that I wanted to do with the business. I don't have $55,000 worth of debt that I'm chasing because those
Yay.
people, you know, take the program and run, and you know, I've got a lot of trust in people, and you know, I'm like, sure, pay me back and they'll keep going after the program's done, but that does not always happen. So, it's reduced our debt. It's supported with, helping people grow their business quicker, which is probably the most beautiful thing. Like, we've had people that have passed finance, got the finance through, and then 2 months later quit their job and they're making 15K a month in their own business. Like, that's the shit that lights me up.
It gives me goosebumps. Like, that's the things I love hearing, and I love seeing them come back to get set up as well.
Yeah, but that's the thing, right? Is if we didn't have your service, we would have to turn those people away. Like, there's been so many people that we've spoken to that, just can't. They've got the money to. They want to invest in their growth, but they can't afford to do it upfront, or whatever the payment plan options are. So having that really beautiful finance package to support people and support us is just beautiful.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
I love hearing that. It just makes my heart when I know that it's working.
And I'm not just saying that because
I'm
I'm on Kelly's podcast crew.
I've got the proof. I've got the settled clients, and I do, because
Correct.
there's some. And the other thing too, that I love that you've taken this and flown with it, and that you've implemented all the things that we've suggested, and it's just, you can see it working. And I love seeing you thrive and knowing all the cool stuff that you're doing with it. Like, I truly believe that when good people have good money, they do better things with it. Like how you were talking about 10% of your income goes into like reinvesting in community projects and third world stuff. Like, this is what happens when you give good people money.
Yeah.
This is how we change the world. This is passing on the ripple effect. And also too, like with your clients, this is by making something that would otherwise seem unavailable available. This is where people get to live their dream and start, doing something that they're deeply passionate about. Instead of having to drop like 10, 20K for it, they can start spending $50 to $100 a week on it. That is affordable. In today's day and age, you don't have to have thousands of dollars or millions of dollars to start something you're deeply passionate about and start living the way that is in your most authentic expression.
Yeah, correct. Could not agree more.
Yeah. Now, Jim, tell me a little bit. You've got some guests. You've got some gifts for our listeners.
Yes.
There's a couple of cool things. We've got the book. That's definitely going to be a link around. Now, there's a special, you mentioned 10K in 6 weeks, fast track and scale gift that you've got. Can you tell us a little bit about that, please?
Yeah, for sure. So I run a program called Fast Track and Scale, which essentially is a mini course. So it's 6 trainings that essentially support people to identify the gaps in their business to add an extra 10K in revenue. So normally we sell that, but for listeners, I'm going to give that for free. So the link will be somewhere so that you can grab it. The book is also available. You can buy it on Amazon. But if you want an ebook, I'll give you a link for that as well, so that the listeners can grab that for free and get things moving. And the fast track course is actually available in the book as well. There's a QR code. So for those that like to read, check out the book. For those that want to skip to the great stuff, which is usually what I do, I don't read the book. I just skip to the good bits. I'll give you the Fast Track and Scale program.
Amazing. And have you got the book on audiobook yet?
No, but you know what? So many people ask me. I need to book in. I actually caught up with my publisher a couple of weeks ago, because so many people have been saying, hey, you've got to turn this into an audiobook. So that's the next step.
Well, your voice sounds great on the podcast, so I can only imagine what it's going to sound like in the audiobook.
I love it. Bring it on. I will be recording. I'll be on Audible very, very soon.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Is there any last drops of wisdom that you'd like to share with our listeners?
Don't hold back. I think it's the worst thing that I ever see is if this session has inspired you, or if anything else that's going on in your life or any other podcasts you've listened to have inspired you, and there's that niggling feeling of, hey, I want to take this step, but I'm too scared, or I don't know what's going to happen, or whatever it is. As Nike says, just do it. Just see what happens.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Jim. It has been a pleasure and an honor having you on the show. That was incredible advice. I second that. Like, when inspiration comes, act. It's that moment of like divine intervention that's saying this way, and follow it. I'll have the links to all of those beautiful gifts that you're sharing with us. It'll be all around. Feel free to click on them. Let us know how much you loved it. If you've got a friend, family member that you think would benefit from this, please tag and share, because this is how we get the love around, and this is how awesome people like Jim get seen by people who need to see him. I love you, and let's see you on the next episode.
Thank you for listening to the Lifestyle Finance Show. If you loved this interview, please feel free to share it, because if it made a difference to you, it will absolutely make a difference to others. And if you are a coach, healer, or mentor, and you'd like to explore getting finance set up for your business so you can get paid in full from day one and financially support your clients in a far greater capacity than just your in-house payment plan, head over to my website, www.lifestylefinanceco.com, and follow the prompts so we can explore this further. Big love, beautiful soul, and thanks for the support.